So what is JavaScript? Well, JavaScript is a scripting language which is used to turn web pages into applications. So JavaScript can be incorporated into web pages in a number of ways. When JavaScript is included in a page, the browser executes that JavaScript as soon as it is read. So JavaScript does not need a server to run. So in this third video, I would like to show you how to use JavaScript. You know, JavaScript can also be incorporated within HTML. So we save this new file we create, then we call it fourth.html. So we first write our formula of HTML, everything will come in, then we use of JavaScript. So down in title we write script like this, so it will be defined as text JavaScript. The JavaScript codes will be appearing in between scripting opening and scripting closing. So we have to force script closing down. Then when we write var in JavaScript, we are declaring a variable which may be called message hello. This is the message we wanted to display on the screen or on the page. How to display it? We use the function document.write like this. Then we put the name of the variable. So hello JavaScript, it is the value of this variable called message. So message will be displaying what is inside these double quotes. We save, then we right click open in browser. So the text is being displayed on the page, hello JavaScript. So JavaScript enables you to make your web pages dynamic. Dynamic means when we have a page, you open it having hello JavaScript, it will keep having hello JavaScript as a static content. So if you want to make it a little bit dynamic, JavaScript is made for that. Go back to your text and let us create a new file. We save it as 50.html like this. So instead of assigning the text statically like this, we use the function called the prompt. So prompt will enable JavaScript to provide the text in an input box. So enter a text here like this. Then the next which the message or the text which will be entered in the input box will be assigned to message variable. Then message variable will be displayed on the screen. We again right click open in the browser. So this is the input box. Good afternoon, JavaScript. I am Albert Gironsang. Then when we click on OK, so the text should be displayed like this, as I have entered it. When I refresh again, the input box should do, again load, waiting for me to enter another text. I'm happy to deal with JavaScript. Then OK. Immediately the text which is displayed on the screen is quite different from the previous ones. So what if you want to display your message in a message box instead of being displayed on, on your web page? There is a function called alert, which is used to display a message box. So the text displayed or entered in the input box should be the one displayed in a message box. I go back, I refresh. Good afternoon. How is it today? Then OK. Immediately the text is being displayed in a message box like this. So we can go further with the JavaScript and maybe use do while and while loops. Let's say we want to display numbers. We use b prompt enter a number less than or equal to 20. So we are going to ask the user to enter a number less than or equal to 20. Then we are going to display, a equal b. So we are assigning the number entered in b to a variable. Then do document.write. We display the number a. Then document.write. We are going to go to the next line using br. If you remember, br was used to go to the next line. Now, once the number is displayed, we have to increase it by 1. So a plus plus like this. So this is the same as writing a equal a plus 1. So this line and this one, they are quite the same. You can use either of the two. Now, at this level, after increasing it, we have to use while, the number a is still less than or equal to 20. It should not exceed 20, like this. Of course, we have to include the braces like this. The braces like this, because it is do while. One under do, another one above while. So when we go back and we refresh, they are asking us to enter a number less than or equal to 20. So we enter 17, then OK. As you can see, it has started from 17. It incremented by 1, 18, 19, and it stopped at 20. So what if we refresh again? We enter 1 as the number. So it has incremented from 1 to until 20. So 20 should be the maximum number, as you have seen in the while loop. Can you try to transform this do while into while? Yeah, I am sure that you can do it. What you just do is to replace do while like this. While a is less than 20, keep on doing this, like this. So using while loop like that. When we refresh again, we enter this time 4, then OK. It does the same, but this time the loop has changed and it has become while, as you can see. So let us now see how we can first of all we create a new file. We save it as 6.html. Okay, HTML. So this time we are going to see how to create the multiplication table. How to create the multiplication table using JavaScript. So this is the title. Below the title we define script as JavaScript. We are going to use for loop. Let's say a equal to 1, a should be less than or equal to 10, then a plus plus. So we create another for loop. This is called the nested loop. We put another variable which is b equal 1, b less than or equal to 10, b plus plus. We again put the braces. We write a document dot write. So the multiplication table, you know, 1 times 1 is equal to 1, 1 times 2 it is 2, 1 times 3 it is 3, and so on. So once 1 is multiplied with 10, then it is incremented to 2, then 2 times 1, 2 times 3, 2 times 4, 2 times and so on until 2 times 10. Once we have 2 times 10, 2 is incremented and it is becoming 3, then 3 times 1, 3 times 2, and so on and so forth. This is what we are doing. So document.write like this. Once a reaches 10, then b is incremented and so on and so forth. Document.write. So once a is equal to 10, before b is incremented, after b is incremented, we use bl to go to the next line, like this. So this is it, our nested for loop, which is creating a multiplication table. So right click, open in the browser. These are our numbers, but of course they are connected to each other. You can't see the difference. This is 1, 2, 3 until 10, and then 2, 2, 4, and so on. So to separate them, let's add these 3 dots here to separate each number with the next number. So we refresh. So this is our multiplication table we are creating. So 2, 2 it is 4, 2, 3 it is 6, 2, 4 it is 8, 2, 5 it is 10, 2, 6 it is 12, 2, 7 it is 14, 2, 10 it is 20, then 2 is incremented, it becomes 3, 3, 1 it is 3, 3, 2 it is 6, until we reach the number 10. So 10 times 10 will be the last number to be printed, which is 100. So JavaScript can also be used to help you validate your web pages. Let's say we create a new file here. We call it validate.html. Validate.html, like this. Then save. It is an HTML file. JavaScript title, we call it use of JavaScript to validate forms, like this. Because it is one form, we call it to validate a form. So you're going to see how to use JavaScript to validate a form, which is created, of course, in the HTML. Our form is created here, and this is where the data are going to be created. Let's say we write input type text name. Let's call it names. Here we add an additional attribute called ID. Very important. This ID will be the one to be used in JavaScript. So the names ID is maybe NA, like this, NA. Then here we call it names. We go to the next line. We call it edge input type. It is text. Name we call it edge. ID we call it age, like this. We add the button. You remember how to create a button? We use input type. Type should be submit. Name will be validate. Value is save. Sorry, this is also save. Save here we can call it save capital. Here we can also include another break the line to force the following content to go to the next line. So this is our form. We are requesting people to enter their names, to enter their age, and also to save. Let us see first of all how it looks like. We open the browser. So this is it, our names, then our age, then save. Of course, we don't have to click on save yet. We want to validate this form such that when someone wants to save without having entered all the contents, let's say Eric, then Eric does not Eric Ngabo Nzima, then Eric does not specify the age. He leaves this age field empty. Once Eric clicks on save, the system should tell him that you must fill the age first. This is what we call form validation. So how to do it now? To do it, of course, we are going to use some JavaScript. We go there, then we write script again. Of course, we are going to create a function which is called form validate, like this. Of course, we started with function keyword like this. Then we are going to define our function here. Let's say if exclamation mark, the first ID is NA. If NA.value, like this, then we use a message box saying, sorry, enter names first. This is the message which will be displayed once someone wants to save without having filled the names field. We again use if exclamation mark. The second ID for age is age, like this. ID is age.value. Again, we define what the if does in case the age is left empty. edge should not be empty. So someone will know what to do once he or she gets such message. Of course, we have to return first. Return first, and also return first, like this. So this is the function called form validate, like this. Return first, return first. Now, this return first is going to be used within not return first, but form validate function name here, this one. We are going to use it at this level. On submit attribute, we call form validate function, like this. On submit, form validate function is executed. Let us refresh and see what it gives us. Eric Gabonzima, save. Immediately they say edge should not be empty because edge is not filled. So I again refresh the page. I write Eric Ngabonzima, sorry. I leave Eric Ngabonzima empty, the names is not there. Then edge I put 30, then I click on save. Immediately, sorry, names. Sorry, the message here is not clear. Let me reformulate it. Sorry, enter names first. So this should be the message to be displayed in case the names are not entered. Let me repeat the exercise. So I don't enter the names, I leave it empty, then I enter 30, then save. Immediately they say, sorry, enter names first. So this is how JavaScript can be used to validate forms. Let me give you a last example, of course not the least, of using JavaScript. Let's say we write the name of the document as function.html. So JavaScript is quite useful once you want to use functions. So HTML using functions in JavaScript. This is the title of our page. Then a script are going to be written here. Functioning so get element. This is the function name. Get element. Document.write. Sorry, document.get element by ID, like this. The ID, we are going to put it in between here. Document.write. Of course, here we can declare a variable which is called message, which is going to be assigned a value that get element by ID will get. So Let's say we write names like this. Input type text, name, then ID, the one that we are going to assign is called names. So these names we are going to copy it. It is the ID to be provided where here get element by ID, then we provide the ID name, which is names, like that. So this ID's value should be the one to be between these quotation marks. Now we are going to go to the next line. Then we include a button, submit, save, value, it is save. Then we are going to add another attribute which is called onClicker. OnClick, this function should be executed. OnClick, get element function should be executed. So this is the function called get element, starting from here up to there. It is the function which uses get element by ID. Okay, so ID here, names, has been defined under input type text, name, ID, equal names, and so on. So once we click on the button called save, immediately get element function will be executed. So get element by ID dot value, and we enter some text like this as names. When we click on save, immediately the text should be displayed. Now we can as well use the styles, to format the color or the size of the text which is to be displayed. At this level, we can format our text like this. So you can even format the output of this page. As you remember, when we write like this, save, we can format this output by changing the color, by increasing the size, by controlling the font type, and so on. So what we have to do is to go there on document.write, line number 9. We add these symbols. We use a font color. We call it red. Size, we make it 40, like this. So the message which is to be displayed is going to be red, and the size is going to be 40. So when we go back and we refresh, we again write the names, we save. This is the output. So thank you. Hope you enjoyed working with JavaScript. Bye.